Okay, everybody, let's begin. Thanks everyone for attending. Welcome to our 2023 Q1 webinar for Boostlingo 6.0. I'm joined with a couple people here today on the product team. We're really excited to show you, everything in 6.0, our largest feature-rich release since last year in August. There's going to be a lot to show. And we're going to probably be hopping off camera because we're going to be doing a bunch of calls, but we will be getting back online towards the end when we'll be answering questions. But let's get started. Let's get started here. So thanks everyone for attending. We often focus on new features with these webinars, but we really try to frame them in a business case that helps on-demand and IMS users, and today we're going to do just that as well. So we're also, for new users, going to cover some of the basics. So once we hop into that demo, we'll show you around the IMS platform, and we'll also show you around the on-demand side and show you some of the most important core concepts so those newbies can really understand what's happening. Before I go on, I do want to handle some introductions. Some of you might have spoken to me before, but if not, my name is Brian D'Agostino, and my role at Boostlingo is VP of Products. And as a product manager, basically it means I'm focused on the success of the platform, its growth, and how it meets your needs. Next, helping me today on today's webinar is our very own Tetiana Tymonina. She's Senior Director of Product Management. Tanya's been with Boostlingo since I think 2016. I'm pretty sure that that's correct. Sorry if I'm wrong, Tanya. I might be off by a couple days.
You're correct.
Yeah, great. But she truly is the subject matter expert with both on-demand and the IMS platform. She's been around since we designed it, as a POC. And she's going to be here to kind of unpack the business case, and she's going to be showing us all the 6.0 features that uniquely solve for each one. Lots to show, tons of great value being added, and it's all coming out. Today's Thursday, tomorrow. So we're doing a deployment tomorrow to all instances for everything you see here today. Some things we just won't be able to show, but for everything you see, it will certainly be available to the masses. Lastly, helping me is also Bryn Riley. She's a core PM. She's also a subject matter expert. She's going to be joining to answer questions, and she's going to be playing our demo interpreter. Thanks for hopping on, Bryn. Great help for today for us. Before I go on, please feel free, ask as many questions as you like in the chat window below. You can start even now if you're confused by my introduction. Bryn is going to be answering a lot of those questions, but we are going to take time at the end of the call to answer as many as we can. With that, let's quickly cover the goals for today's session. So I'm going to do, over the next 60 minutes, a quick intro into our mission and how Boostlingo is in best position to accomplish it. Next, we're going to hop into a demo environment. This is a staging environment, and this is a test bed for a lot of the new features. So just keep that in mind as we take you through the app, but we'll be showcasing features that help with in-session collaboration and productivity. Lots of cool things coming. It's going to be, very call heavy, a lot of changes in the caller. So, just be aware, we're going to be placing a couple calls on the platform today. Then we're going to hop onto the roadmap. We'll cover 6.0 in its entirety. I'll speak to a couple issues we just won't be able to show on today's call. And then we'll also talk about what's happening in May. We have a lot of development already in progress for what will also be a very feature-heavy release coming in early May. And then finally, we are going to leave some time for as many questions as we can. Like I said, post them away, do so immediately if you need to. Bryn will be answering them on the fly, but we'll make sure that we spend some time at the end of the session to cover those. Tanya, next slide. So for new people joining that you haven't worked with Boostlingo before, our mission really is to innovate and reimagine how language interpretation is delivered, increase language access, and improve communication globally. And we do this through multiple product lines which deliver over-the-phone interpreting, video remote interpreting, and a really robust interpretation management platform for language agencies. A lot of that IMS platform, which we call IMS Interpret Management System, helps with the scheduling side, but it also helps run and scale your business. Next slide, Tanya. Tanya, next slide. Yep, cool. We sometimes call this the unified platform, and we're doing that because it brings all modes of communications into a single pane of glass, but it also delivers the same exact experience on web or mobile. So that same exact communication experience is going to exist anywhere you use Boostlingo. On the delivery side, we're doing audio and video. We even support traditional landlines where an IVR menu will help you find the right resource. We specialize in on-demand, where you get instant access to qualified interpreters through our BPIN via IVR, via VRI or OPI, and we do a lot of scheduling automation. So your clients can get the correct resource, and that you could scale your business by just automating and letting Boostlingo drive if you need so. Next slide. Also, as part of this IMS platform is Streamline administration. So we have a really dynamic and intelligent routing system, but you have absolute control over that routing system. You can pick and choose how it's going to route to your interpreters and which one are the best for your specific clients. You can manage interpreters directly on the platform, auto broadcast the requested of appointments, manage your invoices, even customize reports with policy-based management. And the entirety of Boostlingo is completely brandable, from the mobile apps, both on iOS and Android, all the way to the web experience. So all of it is end-to-end brandable. Next slide, Tanya. And now we kind of want to talk about this business case where we're wrapping all these features in. So enhanced collaboration, our first area is going to really be about, enhanced collaboration within a professional environment. So we're speaking to the audio and video conferencing features that lead to better outcomes, from ensuring privacy, improving the interpreter experience with advanced collaboration tools. Boostlingo 6.0 has added lots of features in our most used area of the app, which is our caller. So we're going to be covering these three areas with that business case in mind, optimizing productivity and efficiency for both on-demand and IMS. So let's hop right into today's demo. And I do want to start with some core concepts like I mentioned. And those core concepts are really going to be around the IMS platform, how to navigate it, and some of the core users that you'll be managing. So in this screen right here, you'll see we've divided this browser into the on-demand platform and the IMS. Tanya's focused on the IMS side, and this is really going to be where a lot of the core concepts will be showcased. So on the left-hand side, you'll see navigation. You could get to dashboards, you could get directly to your calendar. Insights is a reporting engine, and then configuration is where administrators are just going to be managing the entire system. That's where a lot of our administrators actually spend most of their time. But today I want to focus on the members section. This is really where the business starts. Your administrators, your interpreters, and your accounts. Let's click on administrators first, Tanya. Thank you. So everyone in this list can be brought into the system in multiple ways. You can invite them by email, or we can bulk upload them. Just reach out to your account manager to manage through that. But each administrator really runs the system for you. And role-based management allows you to dictate what areas of the system they have access to. So maybe you just want to provision schedulers who are simply managing the calendar and potentially an interpreter's profile. You could also set up roles to only handle the accounting side. So maybe they only have the ability to configure, let's say, a QuickBooks integration or a Stripe integration. So the administration section really gives you a lot of power to kind of manage this business and to manage the users in the platform. Next, let's hit interpreters. Again, very similar way to invite interpreters into the platform. You can do so by an email invite. You can do so in bulk. We could also import these, again, through your account manager. Now, the interpreters, once they get an invite, they're going to need to go in and fill out their profile. Tanya, can you open up one of these interpreter profiles, please? Cool. So if you saw, just clicking on a record opens up a viewer. This happens literally for everything in Boostlingo. Everything opens up to a very specific viewer. This viewer here is an interpreter viewer, and it's going to give you a lot of information that both you and your admins can help fill out. One of those is actually going to be shown today. From their profile, which gives their educational background, any documentation that they might have, some of their accreditation, even custom fields that you'd like to include here, like maybe a HIPAA certification or some immunization that you need to track. All of that is updated by either you or the interpreter. On the overview section, you could see their location. You could even see what appointments they might have scheduled for the day. The most important piece is obviously going to be how you roll this interpreter out, and that's governed by the permission section within Boostlingo. It's here that you can go in and say, I'd like to provision this interpreter for OPI. I'd like to provision them for scheduled VRI. You really can set up your pool of interpreters in any way you choose. And then lastly, what you're going to be doing is assigning a language pair to that particular interpreter. The end result being, I want this interpreter to cover, I don't know what language Tanya's going to pick, but let's say English to Italian for medical calls. So all of that's within your control, but you even have more control at the routing level. And some of those controls are going to be for your accounts. Let's close out here and finally look at accounts, Tanya. Accounts for the IMS platform are the people you're doing business with, right? You could really set this up in so many different ways. It's very customizable. Invite in the same manner. You can default languages for accounts. You can default a service type. So let's say you're doing business with a healthcare system. You could set all of that up even before they get the invite. And then once that account is invited, you could simply open up and manage just like you would an interpreter. So Tanya's going to click on a record. We go to the account viewer, and you're going to see a lot of information about that specific account, from the LAPs that they might work with to the company information, just a lot of data. And it's in there where you could actually start defining users, roles within that platform, location within that platform, third-party billing if you're doing invoicing directly through the platform, routing, just a ton of control for you to meet every business case that you have. So those are the three main concepts. And then finally, how do I place or accept a call? I'm in an IMS, the side of the business. So if I click the caller, Tanya, I'm going to open up and see that I can actually take interpretation calls as an interpreter. I go online or offline. It's as simple as that for on-demand. On the on-demand side of the on-demand product, Tanya, can you open up on-demand? You have a very similar platform. And if I want to place a call, I simply click that phone icon, and now I have access to dial for interpretation. All of these things could be defaulted. We don't have to place a call. We'll be placing many today. But that's really how quickly you could get started. Let's kind of hop in to our first case. Give me 1 second here. Cool. So our first area is going to be really about collaboration on the platform. A lot of that is going to be around the user experience around the call. For video conferencing, there are a lot of new tools that we added to help with collaboration. Things like ensuring privacy, as well as making sure there's a professional environment for your interpreters. Tanya, could you walk our attendees through some of the newest collaboration features in Boostlingo today?
Absolutely, I could. Can you hear me?
Can, absolutely.
Okay, great. So let's dive in. And the first upcoming feature that I wanted to talk about today is screen sharing. This is not an innovative concept by no means, but this is certainly something that was missing in our platform. It was a highly requested feature, and for a very good reason, because during the interpretation session, screen sharing can really help in many different ways. First one, it enhances communication. Screen sharing allows all parties to see the same information simultaneously, promoting effective communication and really helping to avoid misunderstandings on the call. Second, it also improves accuracy, particularly when interpreting complex information. It helps provide context and details directly on the screen. And finally, it increases efficiency. It eliminates the need to send or email documents, as any user really can now share their screen and allow all participants to view the information at the same time. So now I would like to show you a quick demo of this feature in action. So let me place the on-demand video call here, and hopefully my colleague Bryn will answer that. So I'm doing that in a testing environment in staging, because these are the upcoming features. Let me mute myself here. Hi, thank you, Bryn. So, when we were building this, we were really not trying to reinvent the wheel. We were really just aiming to make the user experience look familiar, intuitive. And if you look at the control panel here on the top right, you will notice a new icon available here. This is the screen sharing icon. And since I'm a requester here, like this is me, let's say I'm a doctor, and requester is always a host. So this icon will be always available for them. Clicking on it will present you a choice. What exactly I want to share? Do I want to share a tab, a window, entire screen? So let's say over here, I would choose to share this tab. I click to share. Let me go back here. Okay, so you see that now all the participants can see this, can see my screen. And that is pretty much it. So right now I only have Bryn in here, but I might have an LEP, another participant on the call, so everybody will be able to see the screen. Okay, so last thing, how do I stop sharing? I can do it in two ways. First one, you see this is just a built-in Chrome banner over here. I can click stop sharing from here. Sometimes this banner is not really visible, so we wanted to make sure that if it's hidden somewhere, and you can, I think, close it out and just not find it anymore. So another way to do that is to just click the button one more time, and it's just gonna stop the screen sharing. So let me do that. Thank you, Bryn. Okay, I'm gonna end this call now. Okay, let me read this interpreter. All right, so a couple things to note here. Screen sharing will be available on both on-demand and scheduled video calls. And by default, only host can share the screen, but this setting can also be changed either before or during the call. I already got out of the call, and there was this little drop down arrow there where I could change the settings. So let me just quickly show you how to do that before the call if you are an LSE admin, for example. We now added this settings under the calls here. So we have two screen sharing options. One option is select who can share their screen, right? So right now, and by default, it's only set to host only, which means only requester can share, but I can also change it and allow all participants to share. If I forgot to do that before the call, I can just do that during the call. I will have that same option there. And then the second setting here is it will give you ability to choose who can start sharing when somebody else is sharing. That basically means if somebody else is sharing, can I interrupt them and just start sharing my screen or not? Right now, it's only available for the host, but again, you can change it for all participants. And that is pretty much it for the screen sharing. As you can see, you know, this is pretty easy to use, very straightforward, and it brings a ton of value during the on-demand and scheduled video interpretation sessions. If you have any questions about this feature, please drop the question in the chat and we'll try to answer it at the end of this webinar, or offline. We'll definitely get back to you later.
And just a reminder,
Okay,
this is going to be available tomorrow, end of night, to all users for video calls. So you will just immediately see that in your caller.
Right. Thank you, Brian. Okay, so the next big and long-awaited feature that is coming with this major release is virtual backgrounds. So let's talk a little bit about some use cases. For our end users on Boost On Demand, the main use case is privacy. You might have some sensitive information or people on the background that you would not want to be seen. Another use case is really applicable for any user type. You might just want to be in any room in your house, office, another location, and not have to clean it up or prepare it in any other way before the call. If you are an LSC working on the IMS platform, you want to make sure that all interpreters in your roster look professional. That was a big ask from our partners. And you want them to adhere to VRI best practices, right? And having a clean, nice background is one of them. It will greatly help with the goal. You know, the best part, you will now be able to upload a custom background representing your brand, and you can enforce specific background to your entire interpreter pool. So let me go back to my call, and I'm gonna bother Bryn one more time, and I'll show you how to do that in. Oh, sorry, one sec. Before I do that, I wanted to show you that actually the first place where you can choose your background is the caller. So we have this gear icon, and currently in production, clicking it will just open up the input and output selection settings. So we have added another option here. Now you can choose a virtual background directly from here if you want to do it prior to the call. And you just want to set it up once and not having to do that during the call. You want to feel prepared. So simply click this button. Let's see, one sec. And you will see that you can choose from none, no background. You can blur your background, or you can choose from any pre-uploaded backgrounds. If you are an LSC admin, you can also add your own backgrounds if you want to upload any background, let's say with your custom logo, and then in the future also enforce that background to always be visible for all of your interpreter roster. So let's say I just want to keep it as blur, or I can switch it to this bridge, and I click save. Now the expectation is that when I place the call, that background will automatically be applied. So let me place the call to Bryn and see how this works. Hey. All right. I have a bunch of different cameras here. Okay, sorry about that. So it didn't work for some reason, but I'm probably doing something wrong here. Okay, so I can switch again. If you selected something before the call and now you want to change it during the call, you're also able to do that from here. You can choose a background here, click apply, and it's going to be applied. So there was probably some delay because this is a testing environment and we have a bit of a lag here. It should not happen in production. Okay, so that is it. Thank you, Bryn, so much. I will call you again, so please stay there. Okay, so the last piece here, right, that I talked through, but I wanted to show you as well, how do you enforce the background to your interpreter roster as an LSC admin? So this is the configurable settings. So let me go to my LSC admin account. Admin would go to configuration, interpreters, because this is the place where I would want to enforce that to my interpreter roster. And you will see this new setting here, virtual background. So when I click on it, it will give me two options. This is the default one. The default one allows you to choose from any available backgrounds. When this is selected, that means that if I'm an interpreter, I can do what I was just showing you, right? Selecting the background from the caller or during the call. If I want to enforce a specific one, then I would choose this this option over here, you know, whatever I choose will always be applied, and interpreter will not be able to either remove or change it. That is it for the setting. So again, this functionality will not only help our LLC partners, but it will also help to improve the quality of our BPI and interpreters. So we are very, very excited to release this to production tomorrow. Brian, do you have anything to add here? If not, I'm going to move on to the next part.
No, you can move on.
Okay. Okay, so let me go back to my requester account. So moving on to this last enhancement that I wanted to show you, which is related to the video calls, is the changes that we made to the video composition. And to clarify what this means, video composition is just the way how we are positioning video containers with participants on the screen. So currently in production, our standard view allows you to see one participant in the main big view and then the rest, including yourself, in the small containers. So it does work in most cases, but not every time. In some scenarios, you might want to see yourself in a small window and maybe other two participants side by side, or maybe you don't want to see yourself at all and you want to see the rest of the people that you're talking to side by side in the equally sized boxes. So all of these cases will be able to support with a new gallery view. And I will once again place a video call and I will show you where to find it. Hi, Bryn. Okay, so this is my standard view, right? This is, so I'm seeing Bryn in this main view and I'm seeing myself. Now, if I would be adding new participants to this call, let me do that by sharing a link to the call, and I will pretend to be the second and third, the third and the fourth participant. So I'm going to be John. And let me add another one here. Okay, so now I have 4 people on the call, right? I'm seeing Bryn and I'm seeing myself and I'm seeing 2 more people. But this might not always work for me, you know, and I would want to switch from the standard view to gallery. This is what a lot of big conferencing platforms are already doing, and this is actually a default view for them, which is the gallery view. So now we're adding that too. I can switch it, and you will see that I can now see. Let's pretend there are 4 different people on the screen. I can see them all side by side. Okay, so a couple other things that I can do here, you know, if maybe I don't care too much about seeing myself, I can just detach myself from this screen and only see these other 3 participants on the screen. I can also do that. Okay, thank you, Bryn. I think that was the last time I called you, so thanks. Okay, let me hang this up. So really, gallery view allows participants to see and interact with each other in a more natural and engaging way, and it brings us just one step closer to a better conferencing experience. And I think that concludes my demo for the enhanced collaboration section. Brian, passing it back to you if you have something to add. Go ahead.
Thanks, Tanya. I think there was one thing that we did not get to as it relates to some of these new features in terms of collaboration. One of which is the LSC's admin's ability to update an interpreter's profile. So this one's been a long time coming and a heavily requested feature. It's really simple to do. Tanya's just going to open up an interpreter's profile, and as an LSC admin, I'm now going to have control over the entirety of their profile. So I can update anything on behalf of that interpreter that works internally for my LSC. So, this feature really is going to improve data accuracy for your workforce and just make it more efficient. So we know interpreters are often on the road. They're a hardworking resource. Sometimes they forget to update their information. So like location names are often locations are often changing, and even names are often changing. So we really think this is a big win, and we're going to be following this up later in the year with a mobile update so that interpreters can do it on the road in their mobile device. So with 6.0, admins can now go in and edit any information on an interpreter's profile. But again, we'll be following that up later in the year with mobile updates so that interpreters can do it on the road. So really big win for the platform and a really big quality of life improvement for profile management. So let's move on to our next big area. And this really represents one of 2023's key product focused areas, and that is streamlining scheduling. So today we'll introduce some of the changes we believe really help improve the user experience for both schedulers and interpreters across all scheduled communication types. And I really want to double down and say scheduling will receive constant updates throughout the year. We'll speak more about one of the bigger ones that's going to be coming in May when I review our roadmap later. But Tanya, do you want to walk us through some of the changes we have in store for 6.0 for IMS in March?
Sure. So when it comes to scheduling, the common trend that we're seeing across all the requesters that are all the requests that are coming to us is mostly centered around user experience. So how do we make things easier? How do we create an appointment with less clicks? So quality of life improvements are really important. And in this section, I wanted to show you a couple new things that we've added that will hopefully help to achieve that goal. So first, two enhancements around our calendar. Calendar is the place where schedulers and interpreters are looking at daily. Some appointments might be long, some very short, a few might be back to back. So ability to visualize all of them in the calendar is super important. Currently in production, we have 30-minute time slots in the calendar. What I'm talking about is this granularity here. And as you can see, this is my testing environment. That might be the reason why sometimes you're seeing something odd on my screen. Apologize for that. So in this testing environment, right, and in our new release that is coming tomorrow, you see that we increase this granularity to 15-minute slots. This should just, make those short appointments clearly visible on the screen. And let me go, for example, in this view or a day view, I think I have a couple for the 15th, like this super, super small one that before you could not even see on the screen because it was so tiny, so short. But, we really want to make sure that we're accommodating every client need and not every appointment, although the majority of them are 1 to 2 hours. Some of them are small and we want people to be able to see them on the screen as well. So so increasing the granularity here, that will really just help to visualize the appointments. Second, it is a small enhancement, but it's very helpful, is defaulting the screen to business hours. So when you look at the day or a week view, you will see that every time I click between the days, switch between weeks, my calendar always jumps to 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. Section over here. And that is because most of the appointments that you will have in your day will probably not start at 12 a.m. So you don't want to be really having to scroll down every time from 12 a.m. In order to see your appointments. So that is it for the calendar. It seems really an obvious thing to do, and it was a small enhancement that should really help our schedulers in their daily activities. So this is it for the calendar for now, but we have even more enhancements planned here in our upcoming releases. So another place where we want to speed things up is appointments creation. Those of you who are using our scheduling module already are probably familiar with our cloning feature. And what it currently does is it clones all the fields and it clones all their values. And now we're taking it just one step further and allowing to also clone confirmed participants. With that, if you want to quickly create an appointment with the same requester, same interpreter, maybe also same consumer, same LEP, maybe some additional ad hoc phone number that you want to dial in, you can do that now with just a few clicks. So let me show you how. Let's say I want to clone this appointment, and I can open the viewer and clone it from here, or I can use the shortcut, which is just to click this cloning icon here. And now, as an LSC admin, I will be presented with additional option here, clone confirm participants. This is basically this will show you the list of other participants except from the requester, because requester is just one of the fields and it should be covered by by this selection. But I can now also clone interpreter, ad hoc participant, LEP, any user really that is in the confirmed status. I will also be able to uncheck the ones that I don't want to be cloned at this moment. If I just go ahead with this option, they will be added in the invited status, and we'll be sending out notifications and going through the whole standard invitation process. But another option here, again, to just try to streamline this process, if you need it at the moment, you can auto confirm interpreters and other participants. This basically is the equivalent of our quick schedule functionality. So if I select, let's say I want to keep that selection. The next step here, if I click clone, now I will be presented with this short version of appointment form where you only need to specify the date and the time and duration, and then optionally you can update the subject or add a description. So let me show you. Let's say I want it for tomorrow for 6 p.m. It pre-fills, because the duration of the one that I'm cloning from is 30 minutes, so it just pre-fills all these fields for me. And let's say I want to override this subject to demo, and I click clone. That is it. So now I will see that my appointment is not only immediately created with those same fields that I didn't have to fill out again, I also have the attendees already added and scheduled. And I completely bypassed, the entire invitation, acceptance, and confirmation process. And if I wouldn't be speaking too much, it would just take me 10 seconds to create this appointment. And that is all for this section. But streamlining scheduling will continue to be an ongoing initiative for us for the rest of 2023. Brian?
Thanks, Tanya. We're going to be discussing our roadmap shortly and talk about one of the bigger features that's going to continue to streamline scheduling in just a moment. But last, I want to just refocus on our final piece, an area to demo around, which is managing post-call and understanding the utilization of your interpreters. You know, a large part of what makes an LSC successful is understanding, you know, how and when their resources are answering calls. Last release, we introduced device identification, which really helped IMS users understand how users are calling and answering across their accounts and interpreters. So what device are they using? What version of device are they using to place a call? Is it through IVR? What is their inbound number? Well, all of those things are now available on the platform. With 6.0, we're focusing on the timing of the call and who was rung. So our dynamic intelligent routing engine always prioritizes internal interpreters first. Finally, Boostlingo 6.0 allows us to unpack some of that logic so admins can see how it's done for every single call. Tanya, can you show us this?
Yes. So you see I already opened up the logs here to go over this. So based on the questions that come from our customers through support a lot, we clearly saw another area of improvement, which is exposing more information around online and offline statuses of interpreters. And there are really many use cases and many ways how we could represent the data. So we are tackling it from a few different fronts. We're just starting on that. It's a pretty big initiative. So the first question that we hear often is, I see that some of my interpreters are online, but the call was abandoned, or maybe the call went to the BPIN. Did the call ring to my internal interpreters or not? How do I see that? This question can now be answered without having to ask our support team. In the call logs for every on-demand call, admin will now be able to see internal routing steps before the call was answered or abandoned. So let me show an example of that. I have this call ID prepared with a couple of steps to show. So we will still be showing the same info that we are currently showing, but now introducing the call details tab for that, where you will see, you know, the device types and any recordings or pre-call fields if you have them set up. And now we're adding this extra tab with the routing details here. So this tab, this tab will show you every single internal interpreter that were rung, their name, their ID, the exact time when we dialed that interpreter, how long the call was ringing for, you know, on which device, and if the call was explicitly rejected, refused, or not. This helps us to debug issues, make a better sense of the routing logic, and it helps LSCs to be more proactive in managing their resources. Okay, you looked at all those routing steps and you see that interpreter who is saying was online the entire day and didn't get the call is not in this list. So how do you investigate this further? We are introducing another type of logs in the interpreter viewer. Let me go to this interpreter viewer real quick. So this new type is called activity. You will find them under interpreter viewer logs activity tab. Here, admin will be able to see every single online and offline timestamp of interpreters per device type. You can select a specific day and a time frame to a minute that you want to look at. And from here, you will be able to answer two questions. First of all, was my interpreter online when a specific call came in? So to see that, you should just select a specific date. Let's say you want to select 29th, yesterday, from 8 a.m. because you know that maybe your call came in somewhere from 8 a.m. to 8:05. So you can be that specific and you can say, show me, was that interpreter online during that time or not? So if it does return some results, then it means that you will be able to see that interpreter was online. But if it doesn't, that means that interpreter was not. An interpreter might not be offline for just a few minutes. Maybe they step out, maybe they took a little break. Most of the time, maybe during the day they were online, but not at that exact moment when the call came in. So that would really help you to answer the question, why the call was not answered by that interpreter, or why do we exclude that interpreter from the routing logic, because maybe the computer fell asleep and that's why we're not showing that interpreter as online anymore. Another question that you might be interested in knowing, and that this view can also help you with that, is, and especially if interpreters should be working specific hours according to your contract, is what was the total online duration for that interpreter on a specific day? Let's say from 8 a.m. to 5 a.m. So let me look at that. So here you will be able to select the specific date, right? And then the time from and time to, and you will see the total online duration of that interpreter on that day. So now we do understand that when it comes to managing your staffed interpreters, you would probably want to see this data across all your interpreters at a glance. And we do have a plan to solve that use case too, but that will be coming in our next releases in a form of report, you know, and more advanced reporting really around this online, offline information. So more on that, we will hopefully show in our next webinar. And I think that is it. That is all that I wanted to show you on my demo today. Passing microphone back to Brian.
Thanks, Tanya. So as you can see, just a lot of upgrades on the user experience side, lots of new features coming, some of which we didn't even speak through. Tanya, if you could go back to the deck and go back to that roadmap slide, we could talk a little bit about the items that were not included in today's session, and then also speak about what's coming in early May. So on the now side, I did my dev team a disservice and I listed today as the delivery date. It's actually tomorrow. So expect this tomorrow at 9 p.m. Everything you saw today, from screen sharing, virtual backgrounds, video gallery changes, the online and offline details that Tanya just demoed, the appointment calendar, UI improvements, cloning appointment attendees, and editing the interpreter profiles. Two other things we did not mention but are extremely important in this release, one of which is an upgrade to direct dials. So for those of you who haven't used direct dials before, this allows us to configure a number for you or one of your clients that would be very, very specific to who they're reaching out to. It could be a specific interpreter. It could be a specific language. It could even be dialing in an attendee automatically with every single call. Lots to configure there, but the ultimate takeaway is we could customize a single number to always dial for a specific format, right? That we call direct dials. In production today, it did not support intake. Tomorrow at 9 p.m., we're actually going to be introducing intake into this option. And what that means is you now have the ability to capture information for a specific call while that call is being placed. And that can be done either by the interpreter, who will see a form on their screen to help answer the question, or through an operator who will be able to answer before you actually route to an interpreter. So really big win on the direct dial side. This is something you have to reach out to account management to configure. Please reach out to them for more information, but a big win in being able to capture important information for your calls. And then lastly is another quality of life improvement, which is BPIN exclusions at the LSC level. So today in your system, if you call into an interpreter and you want to make sure that that specific account or that client no longer gets routed to that interpreter, you would have to open up the account record and configure by ID that interpreter to exclude them. If you're doing that across multiple accounts, that could get a little difficult in production today. Tomorrow, that's going to change, and we're going to allow you to do that at the LSC level. So it's going to work in a very similar fashion, which is I'm going to exclude the routing of an interpreter by their ID, but now it's going to apply to every single account in your IMS platform. So two big wins and a lot of big features coming on Friday. Also, a lot of stability fixes and a lot of bugs being squashed coming on Friday. Our development team is very hard on work on this release. And like I mentioned, it is the biggest feature release we've had in almost a year, dating back to, I think, August of 2022. After March, we are already in development for what is going to shape up to be another feature-heavy release. Not as big as March, but certainly adding a ton of improvements, some of which I have listed right here. The first one is being an evolution to that online and offline details that Tanya had showed you today. And that's going to be in the form of a reporting side to it. So Tanya was, covering a use case about what happens now. Like a call was placed now. What are the routing steps now? What was my interpreter's specific availability in relation to that call on the interpreter's profile? Reporting is going to allow you to do this at a point in time, right? So I'll be able to say, 2 weeks ago, what was the entirety of my rosters online and offline times? How were they online? For how long were they on mobile? All of this built into a reporting engine, which means you could customize the fields, you could schedule delivery, and you can export it directly there. So that's a huge win in terms of ensuring quality across your pool and across your clients. And this is something that we're going to be releasing in May. Another big feature that we're including is multi-factor authentication. And for those that don't know, multi-factor authentication is just a more secure means of authenticating into a system. It ensures that people authenticating in have to provide, let's say, 2 or more pieces of evidence to authenticate into a system. And that means, answering a text message to get authenticated in, or an email. We have many different options to include in multi-factor authentication, as well as an administrative layer, so you could truly manage aspects of multi-factor authentication. So this is a big win in terms of security for our system, and just a more way to ensure secure access to Boostlingo. We kept referring to this one a bunch of times, but interpreter availability. So some of you on this call might have received a survey of how you'd like to see interpreter availability work for you. And that's the product team just, pulling in information either through account managers or through calls that we had with some of you on your interest in this feature. If you'd like to take part in helping us design elements of this, please reach out to your account manager. But interpreter availability is going to allow IMS admins or the interpreters themselves to book their offline time, to book holidays, to book vacations. But additionally, we're allowing IMS admins to create shifts for their interpreters and make sure those shifts are used in scheduling, right? So you could create a shift by any communication type, add any interpreter into it, and then when it comes to scheduling, Boostlingo is going to know those shifts and use them to allow you to schedule the best resource. It's going to show in every single view, and like I mentioned, this is something that's going to be updated by both the admin as well as the interpreter. Notifications are also going to play a big role, as well as adding these items into the audit trail. So if the schedule changes, and it often does daily or even last minute, you will be aware and you will understand how to change your schedule around that. So this is a really awesome feature, long time coming. And again, if you'd like to take part and share your opinions on how you'd like it to work for your company, please reach out to your account manager and we could get you on a call or help you, take part in a survey that will help us design this feature. Additionally, again, with that same concept of doubling down on streamlining scheduling, we're also going to be updating the resource view. A lot of you users want to make sure that you understand where interpreters are and who's the best person for the job. And a lot of that sometimes is just a view looking at the entire roster as it relates to an appointment, either today or some other time in the week. We're going to make sure that we're adding features to that resource view, and especially integrating it with interpreter availability, where that availability, their offline time or their shift work, is going to be front and center for you to make the best possible decisions. And then lastly, an inbound call country identification. So as calls come in, we're going to share with you, since we are an international company, we're going to share with you where that call originates. So that's going to allow you guys, to really, make sure you can identify best practices for that specific region. So lots of cool things being released tomorrow, and lots of really cool things coming in early May. Let's shift gears and answer some questions. I know we only have a couple minutes left. Bryn, was there a couple questions that you wanted to just share with the team from the chat?
Hey, Brian. Yeah, we did get a few questions. Thanks, everybody, for participating. If we didn't get a chance to respond to you directly, we will be following up after the fact so that everything is addressed. But one I wanted to share, because I think it will be helpful for a lot of people on the call, in regards to the online offline details, is there a way to extract it for all of my interpreters in one report or individually?
Yeah, so there is a way to export what Tanya showed. You could export that all to CSV. So all of those, that activity can absolutely be exported. Tanya, were you gonna show that? Yeah, okay, so she's just gonna quickly show that one, but it's 100% something that you could export. You could download all those columns to CSV. The follow-up report is gonna give you a lot more detailed information, and it's gonna allow you to schedule the delivery of that. So if this is something that you want to review, let's say every day at 9 a.m., you'll be able to do that and schedule that with reporting. But today you can absolutely export the CSV.
Awesome. Another question has come up in a few different ways, but I'll kind of try to summarize. So for organizations that have their Boostlingo calls recorded, if they're using screen sharing, is that going to be shown in the recording?
Yes, it absolutely will. So Tanya spoke about the composition changes. Those actually are added on the recording side as well. And we have a very specific composition for when screen sharing is enabled. So you will absolutely be able to record screen sharing, still see all attendees, and will be in a different format where it's prioritizing that screen share for visibility. So yes, it is absolutely going to be incorporated on the recording side.
Okay, great. Do we have time for a couple more?
Maybe we take one more and then we could answer the rest after the call.
Awesome. So will screen sharing be available on all devices?
So it is not going to be available on mobile. So you'll be able to view it on mobile, but you won't be able to start a screen share on mobile. And this is something we're absolutely going to be working on. This also supports all Chromium browsers. So you should be able to use this wherever you're using Boostlingo. Cool. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Christina, thank you so much for hopping on and interpreting for us. Thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. I hope you saw a lot of value in what we're delivering for 6.0. Again, another release will be coming in May that's going to add a ton of new features. Like I mentioned in the beginning, we will be taking time to answer all the questions that you listed and reach out to you individually after the call. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for attending. Bye, guys.